how they both do. Anyhow, playing for, in fact, kind of himself now. He did join Spotify as their esports program manager. It is TLO.
And down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have, representing Psystorm Gaming, it is Namshar. I do just want to mention that this is a bit of a rematch from one of the previous seasons of the DreamHack SC2 Masters, where they did play in the lower bracket in those best of fives and everything. Namshar won there. Namshar won before that also at like a home story cup 2-0. He won at a balanced Tesla Invitational. Like Namshar basically for the past 4 or 5 months has kind of had TLO's number when it came to tournament results. So I do think that lately, probably TLO's got in his mind that Namshar has been a tough cookie to beat.
Oh yeah, I mean, Namshar, I know that it was a bit of a meme in the European scene for a while. Namshar's ZVZ was kind of getting out 4 lings and then teching up to 66 drones without any sort of scouting and then just playing, you know, like this is kind of old school Namshar. But I haven't seen him for a while, but if you do have like a decisive style, like an aim and a goal of what you want to do in ZVZ, it can work out for you regardless of what your opponent's doing. And I would say with TLO's recent goals and aims maybe being like, oh yeah, I still love StarCraft, I still love competing, but I don't have quite as much time as I used to for it. We may see Namshar eking out a bit of a lead in the series.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. One thing I feel like, because I've seen so many StarCraft 2 like NA players go through this sort of trial and tribulation of like, okay, I'm really focusing on StarCraft because frankly, I don't care about my GPA or something like that, right? And then they started like, okay, I'm getting a job. I feel like I usually end up seeing a bit of a dip in performance. Like it's okay for like a month or two because, you know, your previous skill carries over. And then you start seeing a bit of a dip as they adjust to like work life and everything. And then you'll kind of actually start to see them spike back up a bit. It's like, oh, I'm like used to what it's like to play StarCraft competitively while working. It's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. So I feel like TLO's probably still in like that first phase where I think he's still okay. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing TLO still competing.
Oh yeah, certainly. TLO got out his second set of lings a little bit later. Did opt for like the slightly faster third hatch and you know, getting out a few more drones to compensate kind of thing. But yeah, you're right. Like I've seen a lot of players where they kind of divvy up their time a little bit, and it can actually eventually benefit them greatly. Like I'll always remember Wellmu when he started school and he started like splitting up his time a bit. That's actually when he got like significantly better. It felt like, just because.
Oh yeah.
It felt like these players put a lot less pressure on themselves. And TLO, is he a player that's been good with dealing with pressure in the past? Actually, I have no idea. I feel that TLO has always been a pretty solid all-round player. I remember when Snoot used to be the best Zerg in Europe, which we're talking some time here. There was a period where TLO was like right on his tails as maybe the second best Zerg in Europe, which was super cool period of time. But honestly, I just like seeing TLO play.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. A wonderful player to watch, also just a wonderful person. Like it's very easy to just wish for success to TLO because he's just a very nice guy. But all of that aside, guys, it looks like the ZVZ is finally starting to show some shape and form over here, as we do have mild little ling skirmishes and like the safety banelings being made. But both these players are adding on those roach horns. Both these players are adding on their pulsar weapons. Both these players are adding on their layers and droning up. It's actually relatively mirrored for the most part, but you kind of seeing that they're at least respecting each other enough to like say, okay, I'm gonna test the waters here with a little bit of ling micro, get up the 2 banelings in case you decide to all in. They're not necessarily just doing some gentleman's agreement of like, let's skip the beginning of ZVZ.
No, yeah, this is very different to the Laser Vanya game where they decided to skip ling speed every game, both games. Definitely both trying to like diligently scout their opponent, and Namshar's doing a really good job actually of just getting in lings here, there, and everywhere, and keeping tabs on what his opponent's going for. I guess we also have to mention that if Namshar has had TLO's number, he's going to be way more paranoid about TLO potentially doing some crazy stuff to him to get back at him.
Yeah, I think that should definitely be the case. I feel like a small part of me, it's not like I definitely agree. I feel like Namshar is a good enough player. He'll think about that kind of stuff. A small part of me is also just like, you know, you're talking about that persona that Namshar had built up for himself for a long time, where it's almost like he does all this stuff and this is like his game plan regardless of what his opponent is doing. I sometimes just feel like that is a little bit true, and I do wonder how much Namshar is thinking about what his opponent might do.
I mean, Ravi, like, I'll be honest, like, you know, I know you call yourself the guru of NA, but look at Namshar's drone count. Like, I called this like 5 minutes ago. Like, this is exactly what he's going to do. And how many lings are out on the field? It's like 2, you know? This is his bread and butter and has been for years upon years. And, yeah, if it works, it works. Don't deviate from the plan, I suppose.
Yeah, like you said, it's definitely a solid place to get to, and he has consistently been getting better and better. It's a nice little way to get to this stage, but now he is going to be dealing with a lot of Roach aggression coming out over here from TLO, who does have a mild Roach lead, at least until some of the reinforcements arrive over here for Namshar. TLO going to be starting to poke away at that hatchery. A couple of the lings making their way forward, and I think that TLO is going to have to back out over here, but he forces a cancel, and even I think that hatchery might be 1 hex off if Namshar doesn't notice.
It is 1 hex off, and also it was a kill. Like, the drone obviously got lunched up and stuff, so definitely a nice little start to this game for TLO. And TLO, he's getting, like, upgrade-wise, they're both very similar. Namshar is going for Tunneling Claws with Burrow, whereas TLO is the one that teched into Hydras here. So TLO's army will definitely be a bit more stocky, or at least deal quite a bit more damage, whereas Namshar is going to be sticking with the Roach tech.
Yeah, this is definitely a sort of dynamic we've seen a lot of times in ZVZ of, like, I will just continuously make more Roaches, get Tunneling Claws, make lots of Ravagers, and that's going to be my army versus the Roach Hydra player. But I feel like there's definitely a timer, sometimes it feels like, for that the Roach Ravager player to get something done before the Hydras eventually turn into Lurkers or start transitioning out. You get a hive up or something, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, like TLO, he's definitely got a little advantage. It's not as if he can just kind of bulldoze down here, there, and everywhere, but they're both doing a good job of trying to scout what the other one's doing, exactly what they're up to. Namshar's upgrades do finish. TLO's been, like, you know, scattering around a little bit of static. Oh, he sees all those burrowed Roaches there with that Overseer. Oh, nice snipe by Namshar. That always feels bad when you run into it yourself.
Yeah, it's like, I predicted you, and you lose all your scouting information now. It's going to suck. TLO is poaching forward on this north side of the map, and Namshar has definitely seen that it's coming, but the exact angle is still a little bit left to be decided over here. TLO is going to start backing off, trying to get that concave advantage, using his opponent's Evo chamber a bit to his own advantage. And remember, he's got a couple of those Hydras in the mix, whereas Namshar is trying to get up some of his own counterattacks going.
Aha, the counterattack's not getting much done, but definitely you know, taxing TLO's multitask, and he did a nice block there to stop the units from getting in. But as I said, like, the static defense from TLO, having spores up, having spines up, oh my gosh, does Namshar really want to do this? Nice retreat with the corrosive biles.
I'm not gonna lie, Dumas, for a moment, I did like a double take because I actually thought there was a blinding cloud down there. It was just grass. My God, I was like, when did the hive come out? Well, okay, it seems like TLO is able to get a little bit more aggressive and turn this to be on Namshar's side of the map. It's always a little bit more dangerous, because that means that if you lose even a little bit more ground, you might start losing a couple of drones here or there, or even some of the units popping out from that larva. But corrosive biles continuously popping on out are forcing TLO to continuously retreat out and even eat a couple of those corrosive biles, but Roach is coming in from the north side, giving him a really, really sick concave whenever he does engage.
I'm always worried when the game gets like this, when I think one player is maybe in a little bit better shape. And TLO, he's taken to Hydras. He's getting a lot of Roaches and doesn't have the supply to switch out quite a lot of those Hydras. And Namshar, his Ravager count is real scary here.
Oh man, yeah, a lot of corrosive biles are coming down, and a lot of them are actually landing there. TLO does drop a bit of supply, and like you were saying, the lurkers are going to be on the way. The lurker den just finished up. We got one lurker being made. It's actually mostly Ravagers that just are popping right there. But even just a couple of lurkers can really change the tide of these battles. When you hit maxed out supply, that is when the splash damage is really going to be adding up.
Interesting that TLO went for a lot of extra Ravagers as opposed to like
TLO.
a lot of Lurkers. And now he's playing kind of ballsy here. He's going, like, splitting his army in half, but will he be able to get down this hatchery? It looks like he's definitely got a nice position here. In fact, he's going to go for the sandwich on the top here.
He's going to be coming with the sandwich on the top, but Namshar already came in with a sandwich on the bottom. Actually manages to kill off quite a few of the units over there for TLO. So TLO just says, forget the sandwich. We're going straight for the jugular over here on this top right-hand base. He's going to be able to find quite a few drones.
Wow.
But is there an escape path for these roaches? He has to get a lot of damage done with this.
Yeah, this is a proper suicide squad for TLO over here. I mean, 17 drones do fall, lose a lurk on the bottom side. Namshar's definitely trading like more efficiently here, we can see that. But TLO, he's getting damage done on Namshar's side of the map, and he does have the tech advantage.
I agree, he is getting a lot of damage done, but you look at the worker counts, Namshar's not exactly behind a lot of workers. It's the base that gets sniped off, but Namshar does have that bottom center base, so he's not really falling behind on base count, and he's still keeping up even on worker count. Now Namshar is actually up 27 or so army supply, still growing, and with corrosive biles to deal with these lurkers, TLO's really going to be leaning on that roach or that lurker Hydra tech to actually try and make a defense happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good killing your opponent's drones, but when that just means his army's going to be way bigger than yours, I'm not sure this was super thoroughly thought out for TLO, and he's going to have to sacrifice a base, and even though he did do a good job eliminating a base, oh, this is nice, though. This is nice. He's pulling back the whole entire army of Namshar here.
Yeah, he's actually going to be able to catch a lot of it as it's still in the retreat, and not all the roaches are actually participating in this fight, so TLO is only fighting a portion of Namshar's army. These are the kind of trades he definitely wanted to get. The drones managed to burrow a really clutch move there from Namshar to keep a lot of those workers from just getting focus fire down as he gets his own burrowed roaches into the natural expansion of TLO. 18 workers going down. TLO down to a desperation number of workers. And he is going to be able to snag a base over here. He's still got some of these lurkers alive. I think the biggest boon over here for TLO has been that he killed all of the Ravagers. So I'm not actually sure that Namshar has a lot of answers to the lurkers. I guess 10 more Ravagers just finished up, so that is going to help out a lot.
Namshar had such a bank built up, right? Like he was on 3k minerals and like 1k gas. And the great, what's it called? The great migration of these drones running into four Hydras. You don't really want to stand there, mate. No, you don't. That's he's losing a lot of units against this, but that is such a big swell of units, a big swell of army from Namshar coming to help out the last two that remain. Oh my gosh.
You two shall survive to tell the rest of them what happened here.
What a chaotic game by both of them. Like, I'm going to bring up the workers lost tab. It's 47 workers killed for TLO, 29 for Namshar. They're now on 33 drones versus 32. Like, it's been crazy, man. It's not been pretty, but it's been fun.
It absolutely has. And funny enough, both of their fourth bases were specifically sniped off. And I called that out because it does mean that things get mined out a little bit faster between their first three bases. Nice roach counterattack in the top side, the top left-hand side from Namshar. He had those bird roaches there waiting for an opportunity to pounce. They do find one, but the double overseers should be able to handle these roaches. Yeah, they do find them.
Roaches regen pretty good, pretty good. They're pretty tough to kill for TLO here. So Namshar, he's re-expanded back. He's on 3 bases. TLO, he's like, you know what? What's my advantage here? Okay, I can get lurkers out. He's also got a spire on the way. And yeah, this roach is a true survivor, man.
Yeah, regenerating as fast as it's taking damage, like you said, a little crazy. Definitely a weird situation now with that spire finishing up. You're right, because there is going to be, 3 base of mining, which is technically enough for spire play, right? Right, Ben? What if I told you one of those gas guys in the main base for TLO is about to mine out? The other one will be mining out in the near future, and same with the natural expansion. It's down to like 700 gas. Like, I don't know how sustainable that Spire play is until the 4th bases are established.
I'll be super honest, Ravi. Like, Namshar's going up to like +3 on the upgrades. And even if your opponent has like 6 Hydras with 3/3, they are 10 times better than like 10 Mutas with 0/0, you know? Like, the Mutas aren't going to have a shot. So maybe that Spire tech won't be utilized at all. TLO's having to rebuild the Roach Warren to get Roaches out in the field. And Namshar's got his own set of lurkers now. Like, we're looking at this game. They're both probably going to be thinking about taking their 4th bases. Namshar is currently. And the thing is, we're 16 minutes in. Like, this is almost a deja vu of what happened, like, you know, 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. We've kind of hit that nice little reset point here. But it does seem like TLO is looking to move across the map first. And my God, Ben, is there a Rochan's army? It's just Hydras and Ravagers. That's all it is.
That's what happens when your Roach Warren gets sniped and you're like, okay, I got to make units, right? And it's like, yeah, you do. But, I mean, what a gas-heavy army. Like, it's a true glass cannon army from TLO.
Yeah, no kidding. Not even any lurkers in the mix right here. So he can at least try and move back against those lurker shots. He's going to go for the snipe off on that base. Does force out a cancel. Has a really, really nice concave. And with a lot of Ravagers, I mean, you can deal with your opponent's lurkers through those Corrosive Biles. Almost the role reversal from earlier, where Namshar only had Corrosive Biles to deal with TLO's lurkers.
It's funny how commanding TLO is being right now. Even though he's against, like, superior tech. Oh, that was quite a few Ravagers of TLO's falling there. But he's against superior tech, and he's kind of bullying around Namshar a bit, like canceling the 4th here. But TLO's super all in with this. He's not trying to take a 4th. He's on 45 drones. He's trying to get Hive tech, but I'm a bit curious why Namshar isn't just, you know, moving a bit forward with these lurkers or whatever. I guess it's because he doesn't really have to.
Yeah, I guess there are also so many Ravagers around also for TLO that it's kind of tough unless you have all of the lurkers in the right position. And if you get caught out of position already here, oh, it's going to be so awkward, because if you get caught out of position when you're already on 3 bases, and you lose one of those remaining 3 bases, that actually might force a tap out over here from Namshar. So he's really got to be cautious about this.
Yeah, I'm just impressed by TLO, man. Like, the fact that he's managing to do this with, you know, such a box standard army, I suppose, it's very impressive. He's getting his own lurker tech now with, like, getting the range upgrade. But Namshar now has adapted Talons, and this is where these lurkers get absolutely crazy.
Absolutely. With their quick burrow and unburrow movement, it's really, really tough for TLO to catch him quite as out of position, or even just to land these Corrosive Biles. You can see those lurkers are able to move out of position very, very quickly. TLO in an awkward spot over here, so he's trying to move half of his army up the ramp. That does leave a lot of his army kind of at the bottom, trying to make its way through that choke point. And so Namshar looks like he's about to commit there with a bunch of the lurkers, but ends up backing off as he realizes, well, TLO can just move to the left. They don't all have to go up that ramp.
Yeah, so Namshar's the one that just lost 20 supply there.
Yeah.
Like, TLO is definitely meandering around the map quite a bit better than Namshar. And Namshar, he had a much better resources lost count than TLO. But in these last few minutes, despite having the superior army, he's actually been trading worse. Like, TLO is definitely been fighting his little heart out here.
He's going to be caught in a somewhat awkward position there, but I think that ramp choke point with the lurkers will help out quite a bit in making sure nothing too drastic happens. Although he's going to have a couple of his lurker eggs cancel, the Viper is also going to prevent any lurkers from easily being able to get a lot of damage done over here. But both these players do have their Vipers. Blinding Cloud's coming down on both sides. This is going to be the big do-or-die fight, it looks like. And Namshar pulls himself back a little bit, but he really does seem like he's been able to keep his lurker count going strong throughout all this.
Yeah, this was really the nail in the coffin. TLO did such a good job of biding time and just not dying and trying to put the pressure on, but Namshar's army, it's just so much more, and GG, Namshar takes the first map.
Really, really well done there toward the end, especially by Namshar. Like you said, TLO was doing amazing given the circumstances, but at the end of the day, Namshar is able to make sure those circumstances don't start to escape him too far, and closes that one out. Really, really well done in a extremely hectic game. Very, very hectic.
It really was, man. Like, the game got reset multiple times because of, like, the amount of chaos that both of them threw at one another. Definitely wasn't a one-sided affair either. I mean, like, TLO, while he wasn't trading efficiently early on, later on, it seemed like the more advanced that Namshar's army got and the harder it was to play against it, the better that TLO got against it, which was really fun to see.
Yeah, and that actually gets me pretty excited about game number 2 because, like you said, it felt like we saw improvement in that game. And this is the best of 3, so now we get to see how that improvement maybe affects the next game if we even get to that stage. Because it's also worth calling out again that like both these players showed enough respect that their opponents could go for earlier aggression, but neither one of them did. They kind of got to that next stage without having to deal with a lot of early aggression, and I do feel like both of these players, probably TLO a little bit more so, are definitely capable of it.
Yeah, so the second map that we're moving on to will be Oxide. So quite a few of the new maps being shown today. That's when you know it's kind of, or at least a well-accepted map pool by the pros, when none of the new maps are getting vetoed almost. Like, we're seeing all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, to me, like, being totally in line with what you just said, the biggest surprise to me of today, besides, like, Max Pack Showtime, was seeing Submarine multiple times today. I'm like, huh, we started our first game of the day on Submarine. How on earth? Like, got mostly all just the new maps.
To be fair, that was Ziggy playing, and I mean, like, he loves his Reapers, right? Anyhow, spawning in the bottom left-hand side of Oxide as the Red Zerg, it is TLO.
And up at the top right-hand side of the map, we have the blue Zerg player from Psystorm Gaming. He is Namshar.
So, Oxide. What are the differences on this map compared to the other one? Well, there's a ramp going up into the unnatural, which you might be like, that's not the biggest deal, is it? It is quite good for hiding info, and the series before that we saw with the Laser and Vanya, we got to see that they played on quite a few of the maps where you have like a ramp up to your natural. It makes it easier to deny vision, easy to deny scouting, which can often lead to some more precarious strats. But overall, I wouldn't be surprised if we see exactly the same kind of start again from both these guys as, you know, Namshar. I did talk about the fact that he likes to get up to that 66 drone count with a few lings scattered about here and there. TLO is the guy that's more likely to mix it up out of these two.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And, you know, in some ways, I guess it's similar to Pillars of Gold and having that ramp up to your natural and everything. I think it's worth noting just ever so slightly that, especially in ZVZ, your creep spread from your hatchery doesn't just immediately reach the ramp. So going for those usual wall offs and stuff, you need an extra creep tumor. Takes a little bit longer to do that. And I do feel like there's, like you said, if you want to see some mix-ups, there's definitely a bit of an opportunity to pull it out on this map, but has to be earlier rather than later.
Yeah, like Namshar's scouting, by the way, with the lings, like he managed to keep getting them in there. It was actually really well done by him because while I talked about him wanting to get to the 66 drone count, I said he normally does it without the scouting, but this time he was very, very perseverant with constantly making sure that TLO wasn't up to any shenanigans and what have you. So definitely something that I'm glad to see has evolved in his play for sure.
Okay, well, we do have a pretty normal looking opening from both these players. Just the early couple of lings going straight into, yeah, let's make a lot of drones. Let's get up third bases. And, well, we do still see the Baneliness coming down there for both these players as well. So, I mean, they're still being respectful of opportunities to change things up or the opportunities for their opponent to get aggressive. It doesn't really seem like either one of them really showing a lot of signs that they want to get hyper aggressive themselves just yet.
No, they're players that don't. By the looks of it, neither one of them wants to super dictate the pace of anything. It's more about just respecting your opponent and reacting to them, which that's cool as well. It's a very different ZVZ to what we saw earlier, though, with Vanya and the Laser.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Link sneaks in over here for TLO. Managed to make its way past all those queens. It just kind of confirms a normal looking setup. There's no, extra gas geysers being taken. There's no layer on the way or something crazy like that. No big fake outs happening on Namshar's side, which, again, I think like we were saying before, not a massive surprise because Namshar's the more likely one to play a little more standard.
And TLO opting for that lair. There isn't a Roach Warren by him, right? No, so he's walling off with an Evo. He walled off with the Queen as well and a few Lings here. Oh, just blocks off against those Lings. That's a pretty big deal. But Namshar, he must be kind of sniffing this out. Like, why is this player denying info so hardcore here? I mean, oh my goodness. And it ran past all those Lings as well. That is definitely a bit of a blunder by TLO, given that he didn't really want to be giving away any of what's going on here. Does start a Roach Warren up, but these Lings, wow, what just a full circuit through the base of TLO there.
Yeah, and while they are rewarded with death, they still manage to get a really, really nice scat out on everything. And it's also worth noting that the Roach Warren is still being made, and TLO is not like trying to just hard skip Roaches here. He is still getting +1 missile attack and everything. But just having that faster lair tech, I do wonder if he is thinking about saying, well, what if I just pair up my Roach speed right with that +1 weapons and go for an attack with those two combined?
I'm mainly curious about what Namshar's doing here, though, because like there's no lair tech on the way. He's getting out a lot of Roaches. I won't be surprised if he thinks that maybe it's like, Spire, and he wants to bust it before it really gets going here.
Yeah. No, that's a great call out, and TLO has not really been able to identify that just yet, I don't think. He hasn't really been able to scout super deep into Namshar's territory for a bit now, ever since that Ling got in a long time ago. And oh my god, if you look at TLO's vision, he actually did see a lair starting in the main base. Oh my god, so he actually thinks that Namshar probably did go for his own lair already.
Oh, and look at this. TLO is super supply blocked here. He's producing 5 Overlords at once. He's trying to get Spinecrawler up, so he knows he's getting super attacked by Namshar. But Namshar, he has quite a lot here, cancelling one of the early Ravagers as well. Oh, what a time to get supply blocked for TLO. It's a disaster.
Oh, those 2 Banelings might be able to just kill off all of the Morphing and Banes over there for TLO. TLO does manage to get a couple of hits off. I'm not sure that's going to be enough, though, because Namshar is barreling down, and now that he's pulled his Roaches off attacking the third base, he is just killing TLO's Roaches one by one as he moves into the natural expansion, forcing the drones off the line. TLO can afford to lose a few, but he's going to be losing a lot more than just a few drones here, Ben.
Oh, what a sad time to get supply blocked for TLO, and the supply tells the tale of this story. The third base is also down for TLO. He fought hard in the first game, but this second game, Namshar just caught him with his pants down. Namshar feeling so confident to even drone up massively behind all this, and now getting his lair, but he truly bamboozled TLO.
Really well done. Like you said, the combination of just the supply block, but also just the bait layer there from Namshar, where he lets it get scouted, then cancels it, and goes for this big Roach all-in. Really well done. Obviously, guys, it's not going to work 1 base versus 3.